SUKHI HOTHU, dear Dhammaputras and Dhammaputris, I am indeed very pleased to give you a talk this evening on holistic mother care, or in other words, how to be a caring and wise parent. When I say holistic, it means not just looking at giving birth to a child in the way that we are doing today. Today what happens is childbirth is taken as a routine matter. The mother who is expecting, she goes to the doctor on her own usually. When you go to the clinics, you can see the mothers, expectant mothers, all alone. The father is not around, the husband is not around, and they have all kinds of reasons why he cannot accompany the mother to the hospital or to the doctor for the regular checkup, prenatal checkup. And even in many cases when the husband accompanies the mother or the wife, he does not accompany her into the consulting room. He sits outside and she is the one left alone to talk to the doctor. Is this reasonable? Why should it be this way? Such an important thing is happening, going to take place, and the husband seems to be so uninvolved. This is going against the Buddhist culture, the Buddhist tradition of looking at the birth of a child as one of the most important events in a married life. In Buddhist culture, the Buddha has taught us to look at motherhood as something which is sacred. Motherhood is sacred. It is not an ordinary development. It is not an ordinary happening. We, whether it is our mother or somebody else's mother, whenever we see an expectant mother, we must respect the mother as sacred. This culture is not existing today. So we need to revive this culture so that in our community, whenever there is a mother who is about to expect a baby, who is pregnant, we must help that mother. We must feel for that mother as members of the community, because the child that the mother is going to give birth to is going to be part of our community. The child belongs to us as well. So how can we be indifferent? In many traditional Buddhist countries, for example, when a wife is known to be expecting a baby, she's pregnant, the first thing they think about is to find out from this expectant mother, whom they know personally, what is it that she likes to eat, for example. Because they know expectant mothers have various yearnings, and they feel that if they can offer some nice dishes for this mother, that will give nourishment to her and nourishment for the new baby that is to be born. And this is a wonderful way of expressing one's dana, one's feeling. And they have gone to the extent that this psychic of wanting to give nourishment has gone to the extent of even giving nourishment to expecting dogs, female dogs, cats, cows. More than normal, they would like to give something to a dog, a lady, female dog that is going to give delivery to a baby or babies. The feeling is that again here they are giving nourishment to life. And it's a wonderful feeling which is part of our Buddhist culture and heritage. So now we need to as a community, get together and help this mother in terms of giving our time, in helping, because during the time of childbirth, of pregnancy, the mother goes through a lot of trials and tribulations, a lot of anxieties. So for the first time expectant mother, she doesn't know what is happening. So if we have gone through childbirth And we can go and tell and talk to her, spend some time, help her in the house and help the family out. It will be a very, very great dana, because that is the time she needs this help. And that is the concept of living Buddhism, not just knowing Buddhism. And that is the concept of being a Buddhist in the true sense of the word. Not just knowing a lot and lot about the Dhamma, reading a lot and lot about the books about the Dhamma, and able to cite and recite and say everything by heart. No, this is more important. And we know that we can do it and we must do it. Only thing is we need to start this practice and encourage our members, our communities to start developing this kind of fellowship and involvement within the community. Now, as far as the husband is concerned, he is responsible, totally responsible, as much as the mother in bringing about a healthy childbirth. Now, this child which is being formed in the womb is alive. It is not just forming physically in the womb. The mind is alive. This child mind is going to be developed in a very, very powerful way based on the feelings, the emotions, the expectations of the mother. Whatever the mother feels, the child automatically feels in the womb. If the mother is happy, the child has feelings of happiness. Now, if the mother is sad, disturbed, angry, or tensed up, all that feelings will come. And this will give expression in the character and personality of the child. It is not something that I am saying. In modern science, it has already been proven very clearly that this child develops all kinds of emotions while the fetus is forming in the womb, because the mind is alive. So we need to now program ourselves so that when the mother is expecting, we make sure that the mother is in a calm, comfortable, confident state. And that can only happen with the conscientious involvement of the husband. The husband must not regard pregnancy as routine. He must be conscientiously involved in terms of giving his time, in giving his attention, giving his love and care for the wife and the baby that is to be born. Now you will ask, for example, what can he do, or what should the husband do? First and foremost, the husband must make sure that he is there, physically present. If he is not there, physically present, to provide for all the comforts, the encouragement and support, the wife will feel very, very lacking in confidence. And confidence is a very important element, not only in childbirth, but more so in childbirth, in everything that we do. If we do not have the confidence, we won't be able to achieve what we are aiming to achieve. Confidence can make the difference between success and failure. Very often it is confidence that makes you succeed. There is nobody in the whole of human history who has succeeded by saying, I cannot do it, or it is impossible. Everyone who has succeeded because of this confidence. And in Buddhism, we refer to confidence as Shraddha. In Pali, Saddha. In Sanskrit, Shraddha. Shraddha means confidence based on faith. And this faith is not an ordinary faith. It is a faith that is based on understanding. There are two types of faith. One is a blind faith. Right or wrong, whatever it is, I just believe. I don't even question, I don't even ask. And normally, this blind faith is just having a very slight positive impact. And it can be dangerous sometimes. There are many people who go blindly believing some things and they are led astray. For example, a very famous example is Jim Jones, who led a group of people to commit suicide in Guyana some few decades ago. And they're like that. There are so many so-called teachers and leaders who lead people along the wrong path because of blind faith. There are some people who, because of the blind faith, the leader says, don't take medicine. They don't take medicine, and the wife and the child both dies. So we don't want that kind of blind faith. What the Buddha taught was faith based on understanding, faith based on knowledge. So this Shraddha incorporates faith based on right understanding. When the mother has this Shraddha, that she will not have any problems, and she is able to draw this Shraddha from the life of the Buddha, from the life of the Arahants, from the culture and history of Buddhism. For example, the Buddha succeeded not because of the fact that he went and did X, Y, Z, or he went and meditated. From the time he ventured into perfecting himself spiritually, he had this Shraddha. He had this faith. I can succeed. I will be able to succeed. And he succeeded because of his Shraddha. Now you and I, for example, would be more than happy becoming an Arahant. But in the case of the Buddha, he achieved such a high level, but he says, no, I must go and achieve the ultimate truth. That Arahanthood is not enough for me. I must attain Bodhi, enlightenment. And he aspired, and he went until he came to a point. He tried all kinds of methods, all kinds of experiments, and he went to the Bo tree and said, what did he say? I will not get up from this seat until I succeed. And he said that because of Shraddha. I will not get up. So if the mother, we encourage her to reflect on all these aspects of the Buddha's life and the Buddha's achievement, and if the Buddha can achieve enlightenment, my delivery, my childbirth is nowhere compared to what the Buddha achieved. And I would be able to go through these unprecedented experiences despite all the aches and pains and trials and tribulations and sacrifice I have to make. She goes through this with confidence. And the husband must be there to give her that encouragement and support while she builds up this confidence. And just is a beautiful development, beautiful ingredient for childbirth. The second aspect of holistic motherhood is to develop the fetus. As I mentioned earlier, the fetus, the mind is alive. This mind of the fetus can be developed through chanting. Because normally what we do, is to look at childbirth only in the physical way. We look at the weight of the baby, because every time the mother goes to the doctors, they only ask to find how much weight the mother has gained, to know, to record what is the weight gain of the baby. Then they do an ultrasound. Again, they want to see whether the baby is properly formed, whether the hands are okay, whether the legs are okay. They're all looking at the physical. They don't realize that the baby is also having an emotional life, having a psychological life, and having a spiritual life. So in Buddhist culture, it is very clear the Buddha taught about Gabba Parihara. Gabba Parihara means the protection and the development of the fetus in terms of not only the physical aspect, physical growth, but also the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual development of the fetus. This is a holistic approach. So we need to move from just the physical aspect, and we now have to look at the mental development. In Chinese culture, after Buddhism came to China, in Chinese culture, they developed this concept. They practiced this concept, and it became part of Chinese culture in ancient times. In ancient times, families lived 3-4 generations together, and the knowledge and the practices were handed down from one generation to the next generation because they lived in an extended family. Over the past so-called modern times, this extended family has disintegrated, and you have a nuclear family. A nuclear family situation, the wife and the husbands are left completely on their own to cope with these kinds of problems. It is not meant to be like that. Even animals, in particular elephants, if you study how elephants look after childbirth and pregnancy, it is a beautiful lesson. The whole herd looks after a pregnant mother, and the whole herd looks after a newborn baby. This is a lesson from nature. And we human beings were like that before. We never lived alone. We never lived in isolation. It is an unnatural situation that we have to face today because of the nuclear family. All the more reason why we as a society, we as an organization, we as a community must now provide for these kind of ingredients to make sure that this childbirth is a holistic, wholesome childbirth. Coming back to the point about chanting, we have sutras, wonderful sutras, and it has been proven that sutras have an ability to generate positive energy. It has been proven scientifically. We have known this for centuries from the time of the Buddha. During the time of the Buddha himself, he encouraged the chanting of paritas. Paritas are a collection of special sutras to protect, to bring about an improvement in the mental, psychological, physical condition of a person who is not well. The Buddha himself had paritas chanted for his well-being whenever he was not well. The Arahants also had. So he understood, and the Buddhist scriptures have explained in very great detail the impact, the power of these sutras. We, unfortunately, are not using these sutras for our protection, and particularly during childbirth. This fetus mind is a blank sheet of slate. In Latin, it's called tabula rasa. This mind is clear and pure and unsoiled, like a white sheet of paper, like a white sheet of cloth. You can put in whatever inputs you want in this mind. That is the wonderful opportunity. There is nothing that is soiled this clean sheet of paper. So whatever that you put in will get embedded very easily and very quickly. It will be rooted. It is the wonderful opportunity to do it. We don't understand it. Therefore, the sutras, when it is being chanted, it will impact the mother, make her calm, make her relax, make her tranquil, develop her own shraddha in the process again, reinforce all of that, and that will also impact on the fetal mind. Directly as well, the unborn baby able to hear. The baby is alive. Although it is a fetus, it is alive. It is able to hear these wonderful sounds, and the intonations, the vibrations will impact on the mind. And it will remain in the mind forever and ever. because it is in the subconscious mind. So we need to encourage this. The mother must come to the vihara, to temple, to Tangxiang temple, for example. There are so many monks and nuns here to chant. She can do all kinds of pujas. The minute she comes and steps on the ground of the vihara, it is a different feeling altogether. This earth in Tangxiang is vibrated with so many millions and millions of suttas. This is a different earth compared to the earth on the main road or somewhere else. The minute you step, those vibrations go into your body. This whole atmosphere here is filled with Deva realms. The vibrations in this atmosphere is completely different from the vibrations in the house. So she does not have to do anything as far as I'm concerned, or as far as the Buddha's teaching is concerned. Just by being here physically, she is charged like a battery. Like your motor car battery, she is charged with positive energy, positive vibrations. And she is going to benefit all of this. When she gets these positive vibrations, automatically all the endorphins in her body will come out. These endorphins are detoxifying whatever negative things are in her body. They are biochemicals. This is not what I am saying. This has been proven by modern science over and over again. The opposite of it also can happen. The opposite of it is, if she is stressed, if she is angry, if she is filled with fear, if she is unrelaxed, tense, unable to sleep, adrenalines will come out. And these are negative biochemicals. These affect the cells. These affect the brains. And she has all kinds of problems. These problems will also affect the fetus. If the mother is restless and mother is not calm, the fetus is not calm. The fetus is restless. And you get a restless child when the child is born. It has been proven. If the child is able to have the inputs of chanting, when the child is born, the child has an empathy. The child is able to empathize with this music because the child has been listening to this music. Now they have copied this. In the West, they ask you to play music. They don't say it is a Buddhist teaching or the Buddha's teaching. They say play music, play classical music. True, it will have the same effect. But only thing is, this effect is limited only to empathizing classical music. And those teachers who are teaching classical music, for example, Professor Suzuki is one of the leading Japanese instructors in classical music. He insists, having understood about Buddha's teachings through the Zen Buddhist understanding, he makes it a compulsory for his students to be registered even before they are born. Otherwise, he's not going to register the child. So the mother has to register the child even before the child is born. And two, the mother must listen to classical music several hours of the day. Then when the child is born, he knows, barring all other things, this child will have an empathy for classical music, a natural liking. That is why when a child is born, the child cannot see like you and me, but the child is able to recognize the mother's voice automatically. And the child is able to smell the mother automatically. And when the child is in the infant stage, if the mother is around and the child is hungry, even out of time, the child will start crying. Because the child can smell the mother, and the child knows, my mother is around, I can have some nursing. So that's why sometimes mothers keep themselves away if they are not ready to breastfeed the child. The child is intelligent, the mind is working. I just want to illustrate that point. And this child is able to understand all this because the child has been part of the mother in the womb. You cannot run away from the fact that child is living. So if the child is living, we have to take care of all those things, and we have to recognize that as a responsibility and duty, not just after birth, but while forming. The third aspect is meditation. Again, the vihara in Tanxiang, you can come and sit down for a while and meditate. You can meditate in the house. You can meditate while you're lying down, particularly after several months of pregnancy, you want to lie down. But sometimes you might go to sleep. But so long as you do a little bit of it, it helps a great deal. Through meditation, the mind and the body is brought to a certain calmness, tranquility. And this child will benefit from this tranquility. So that is why we ask for meditation. And both the chanting inputs and the meditation aspects have been proven over and over again. I don't have time in this short period that we are discussing to go into details, but they're all outlined in this book which I have produced. It is 510 pages with a lot of illustrations, lot of evidences, validations from scientific, medical proofs, experiments, and various other case studies. So it is not something which is imagined. It is not an imaginary thing. It is real. It has been there for 2,500 years ago. Many of our youngsters, unfortunately, even I, for example, didn't know all of these things. When we get married, we are not taught how to live a happy married life. We are not taught how to bring about a happy family. We just get into married life, we have our own children, and we do a lot of mistakes, or we don't avail ourselves of the ways and means in which we can have a better child, a better family. So that's why we need to now organize programs. I have done a few programs in Klang Valley, and I found those programs to be very helpful. So our younger generation, it is our duty now to organize programs for the younger generation, even before they get married, to understand these things and to benefit from these kinds of practices which have been proven to be successful, to be true throughout generations. We can have workshops. We can have also situations where married mothers can come in and share. We want these children who are to be born to know each other when they are born. We just don't look only in terms of these inputs for having holistic parenthood, but we must look beyond the birth. When the child is born, what do? We come to the vihara and we have the blessing in the vihara. You don't have to rush immediately after birth. Have a convenient day. We invite relations and friends and community who have gathered to receive this child in a simple, not expensive ceremony to welcome this newborn child to our community. And the child has the safety net of Kalyana Mitras, mothers, fathers from the community, and other children and newborn children, 1 or 2 years older than him, and later on 1 or 2 years younger than him. This becomes his group of Kalyana Mitras. Kalyana Mitra doesn't mean that you just know what is Kalyana Mitra from the book and from the text. Kalyana Mitra is living Kalyana Mitra, practicing Kalyana Mitra, where you live as part and parcel of a larger family and you form a safety net. Like the fishing net, you form a net and you network and you get to know each other. And we can have beautiful practices which is a duty and responsibility of the parents. We cannot expect a child to say, Papa, Mama, just after birth, I want this, I want that. The child has no chance. We as responsible parents must make sure we do these things. Very simple. I'm not asking you to do sacrifices, and difficult things. Come to the vihara, ask the sefu for a nice name, or you can think of a few names. I have written a book on Buddhist personal names. It's a whole book, a compendium, and they are wonderful names. Names with meaning. Each name has got some wonderful name. For example, my father gave me the name Alfred when I was born. And, somehow or other, I never liked that name because I couldn't relate myself to the name Alfred. It was so foreign. It was so incongruent to my personality as a Buddhist, my feelings, my vibration. But my father thought it's a fantastic name because King Alfred, English name, oh, wonderful, can show that you are Western, modern, cultured, And gave my brother another Christian name, another king's name, Arthur. That doesn't make sense. So when I grew up, I realized it doesn't make sense. So I said, I have to give up this name. I have adopted the name Ananda. Ananda is a beautiful name. Ananda means blissful. Such a wonderful name. And Ananda, the name itself is a personality. I can visualize Ananda. So how inspiring I will feel when I refer to myself as Ananda and when others refer to me as Ananda. I ask myself, am I living anywhere like Ananda? That gives me inspiration. If Ananda can be so great, I should try and at least be somewhere near him. He was the chief attendant of the Buddha, the longest lasting chief attendant and the last chief attendant. He was also the one who had special ability in memorization. And he was given the onus to chant all the suttas the Buddha gave wherever he went. As chief attendant, he used to follow the Buddha. And when he was appointed chief attendant, he told the Buddha, I want one condition added. I will be chief attendant provided whenever I am not able for one reason or another to be with the Tathagata, the Buddha, you must narrate what you had given, that sermon, I was absent, to me again. That's why, although he was not at some times with the Buddha, he knew what the Buddha had preached. So Ananda was the repository, the computer for all of the Buddha's teaching. They had a council, a meeting, immediately after the birth of the Buddha, not many centuries, and they compiled all of this. They tested it out, they compiled in a group of 60 Arahants, and he narrated, and that's how we have the suttas passed down. And these suttas were collected, and many Chinese Arahant monks went from China to India, and they went and collected the suttas from India. Fa Hien, for example. Then they went back to China and they recorded this and put it into writing. When Buddhism declined in India, these records in China are the only records we have in writing of all the suttas. So here is Ananda. We can feel that he has been a great leader. So when I think of it, I feel I want to do more and more and more. I get more energy, and I have developed a self-aspiration to try and emulate the qualities, the personality, the abilities, and the achievements of Ananda. So when you give a child a name, for example, Karuna, the child is reminded from small. Karuna is compassion. The child learns to be compassionate from small. The child is reminded, I cannot be having such bad thoughts. I am Karuna, how can I be? Two, whenever the parents call the child Karuna, the parents are passing their positive energy, their thoughts. May my child be Karuna. So the blessings and the aspirations are better actualized in this child. If a child is called Kanti, the child is reminded and blessed every time the child is called Kanti to be patient. Like that, we have wonderful names. And in this naming ceremony, we give a simple ceremony, bless the child, and the child has got a wonderful Buddhist name. There's another advantage in having Buddhist names. When children have Buddhist names, they learn the Dhamma automatically. Growing up as a child, I know what is Karuna. I know what is Mudita. I know what is Upeka. I know what is Ananda. I learn because these words are used as among friends, and my parents will explain or my friend will explain, and that is developing your Pali Buddhist vocabulary. Without any effort, no need to go to class. Automatically the public will come to know. This was lost because we lost all of this. Otherwise, Karuna, Metta, Mudita, all these things are common words. They are not supposed to be obtained only from books. You don't have to obtain them from books. They were used in everyday language. So in that sense, that is a spin-off that we can get. Another important element in this is that the community has got together. We make it a practice for the family. We encourage them. Every year the child celebrates the new year. Before that, we plant a tree, a fruit tree in the home, and make the child, when the child is a little bit older, to take care of this tree. Same like the child's life. And the child will be having an affinity with nature. This is important because if you look at the life of the Buddha, and if you look at today's present situation, where there is climate change, and there might, tomorrow, if the rate we are going, there won't be human beings. There are so many animals going extinct, and the environment is changing so rapidly, we will all suffer from cancer if it's not, not controlled. But what better way to control than to make a child appreciate nature, love nature, and that will be ingrained in life. That is the best way to tackle this problem. Then also the child learns how to be nurturing. We teach the child to nurture. These are life skills. They're not taught in books. Living skills. Not taught in books. Not taught by memorizing. Not taught by passing exams, which is what is happening. You can't teach morals. You catch morals. You internalize morals. You practice morals. A child can get 100 and 100 upon 100 marks. But it doesn't make a child a moral child. But a child who can maybe even can't read and write, doesn't know what is morals, but if you start teaching, inculcating these practices, automatically it becomes second nature to the child. It becomes the child. That is the personality, that is the character, that is the child. So it is a very much more powerful way of trying to inculcate moral values, ethical values through these practices. The child comes to the vihara every year on birthday. What we do today is we celebrate the birthday in either McDonald's or in the house, and we eat and we sing and then we go home. We need to bring the child to the vihara. The child was given a name. Now, first birthday, the child is again blessed. Not every year, once only, but this is a special blessing, again blessed. Goes through the whole process of the family and community, receiving the child, seeing the child wonderfully growing and developing, the child seeing other children. And when the child is able, at the age of 2 and 3, to inculcate the practice in the child of worshipping the mother, in particular, Mother dear, you sacrifice so much to give birth to me. Because we teach the child, this is what childbirth is. You risk your life to give birth to me. Worship in front of everybody and say, may you attain, dearest mother. I will not do anything to hurt your feelings. I will not do anything to make you sad. I will not do anything to make you unhappy. This is much more powerful than teaching all kinds of lessons and forcing a child to repeat other things. And the child will be what the child is saying, because every other child is going to do that. He will be seeing other children doing it. And we develop this culture. It is a culture which is not existing, but we can plant the seeds. The sooner we plant the seeds, the quicker it will grow, and we can have a wonderful community in the process. Second thing is, by all means, I don't say don't have a party. By all means, have a party if you want to have a party. But this religious aspect, because we all have, as I said, a physical, emotional, psychological, and spiritual life. It is part of us. If you look into science, if you look into motivation, if you look into human development, this is very clearly spelled out in Maslow's theory of hierarchy needs and so many books and books, but the practice nobody has gone into. So on that birthday, the parents encourage the child to do some dana, from pocket money or whatever it is. When the child is a little child, do some dana, small danas. We don't are asking the child to do some fantastic things. Go to an orphanage, go to the old folks, feed somebody, or give even a stray dog or stray cat or something. Small acts like that. My birthday, my mother sacrificed to give birth to me. There are so many people who are not so fortunate. I want to help them. I want my birthday to be a day to be remembered by dana. In the kindergarten, in the schools, we write these things down. On my birthday, I did this. And the child will grow up to be proud. After 10, 15, 20, 30, 50 years, even as a 3-year-old child, I did this. On my birthday, I donated blood as a 10-year-old or 15-year-old. There's so many things you can do. On my birthday, I registered and donated my organs. These are living aspects of Buddhism, not just knowing about Buddhism. And once we inculcate in these practices, these ideas, this concept, in the rhythm of life, then we are living Buddhism. And that means we are following the Buddha Dhamma in the true sense of the word. So please, Dhammadutas and Dhammaputras and Dhammaputris, please, it is your duty, your responsibility as parents to start this. It is really unfair because the child cannot decide. The child has no choice of name, but if you take this responsibility in the true spirit in which the Buddha taught, you can give the child a better future, a better life. The ingredients for success, the ingredients for well-being, the ingredients for happiness is planted from the time the child is forming at the fetal state, not when the child is grown up. Don't make that mistake that many parents have been doing. Oh, my child is too young. A child is never a doll. A doll you can keep on the shelf or in the cupboard and decide to play at the year 5 or year 6 or whatever, a toy. But the child is growing every day. By the time the child is 3 or 5 years old, it is too late because the mind is already programmed in another form. You cannot do anything then. So we might as well do whatever we have to do before the child is bombarded with all kinds of negative things. And we know as Buddhists in particular, that we are made of mind and body. We need to look after this mind. We need to cultivate this mind, not just look after the body. We have done enough and we are so used to looking after our body that we don't need to worry too much. Only thing is we need to look after our body in terms of developing our sila. But in other ways we have been looking after our body very well. In fact, sometimes it's the only thing that we are doing. But we don't look after the mind. We need to cultivate the mind in this simple way, and hopefully as the child grows, this mind will become a powerful, positive, wholesome mind. A positive, wholesome mind will ensure that this child will be a very successful, progressive, developed, happy child. SUKHI, HOTHU, Dhammaputras and Dhammaputris.